Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll talk about how the Beef Checkoff works to increase demand for U.S. beef all around the globe. Plus, we'll dig into the relationship between corn and cattle and why it's important to the long-term success of both industries.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. One important way the beef industry stimulates demand for our product is through the work of the Beef Checkoff. The $1 per head checkoff fee is used to encourage consumers to buy more beef through initiatives like advertising, research, and new product development. We asked some producers at Cattlecon in Orlando to share their thoughts on the value of the Beef Checkoff.
The Beef Checkoff is vital to our existence in the cattle industry. They are truly out there promoting our product to consumers. We see it every day with their marketing efforts, both on social media and in person with billboards and different events that they are hosting. We are creating a product and they're promoting it.
The Beef Checkoff is important because it helps increase profitability for all the producers, and it gets in the consumer's face to let them know that beef is their protein of choice.
Well, the Beef Checkoff to me is very important. I stand behind it 100%. They're out there advertising and advocating for my product.
The Beef Checkoff is important because it's the way we leverage a few dollars to market our products and improve research and the quality of the products that we raise.
The Beef Checkoff is very important. And I say this all the time because, we may sell 100 cows a year, 200 cows a year. And in our state, it's $1 for the checkoff. So that might be $200 out of our pocket. I can personally do nothing with $200, but I can add it to the big pool of money that will help spread that and get good advertising out there so people do see our product, what we do. And I think that's what's very important about the Beef Checkoff.
The National Beef Checkoff program is led by volunteer producers who are appointed to represent their state and serve on the Cattlemen's Beef Board. Joining us now is the new chairman of the Cattlemen's Beef Board, Andy Bishop of Kentucky. Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me for one. I'm a cow-calf producer there in Kentucky. My wife Megan and our 4 children raise a cow-calf operation, or have a cow-calf operation, mostly Angus cattle. I'm a banker by trade. I do ag loans, and like most cattlemen in Kentucky, we work during the day off the farm and farm at night and on the weekends. So we've got a small cow-calf operation.
We're glad to have you. And tell me this, what are some of your goals as chairman of the Beef Board this year?
Yeah, I think my biggest goal, Kevin, as chairman of the Beef Board would be just to increase the transparency. We always want to be transparent with our producers who are paying into the checkoff, but helping them understand how those dollars are spent and that we're spending those dollars in a way that's efficient and effective for them, and that a lot of times they won't see how those dollars are spent, but more importantly, producers like myself are making those decisions to make sure that they're spent efficiently.
I think that's a critically important message to share. And the other one is just how essential the checkoff is to driving beef demand. I'm curious to hear your read on that. Why is it important that we have a beef checkoff program?
You said it, beef demand, driving beef demand. And I think the best example of that was coming out of COVID. We had all-time record high prices, yet beef demand set an all-time record. If nothing else, that's a testament of the checkoff and the work that it's been doing to gain consumer trust in our product, but also to show consumers that our product is superior across the world. We have the best and most safest nutritional beef across the country and across the world. And I think the checkoff does a good job in spreading that message, but also, Kevin, to safety and nutritional research to I guess, create a framework for that consumer marketing effort.
One last question, and you indicated earlier that this really is a producer-driven organization. Why is it so important that it's producers who direct where these dollars are spent?
Well, obviously the misconception a lot of times is that executives are generating or are creating those checkoff programs, and so we want producers to know that other producers, matter of fact, on the beef board, there are 94 producers that make up that beef board. And those 94 producers bring messages from all over the country on how their states and their local producers want to see those dollars spent. And so I think that's important because we are stewards of our own dollar, and we want to make sure that that dollar is spent in the best way possible, just like we would on our own farm or ranch.
And if I have suggestions, I can talk to my person in Colorado. Is that
Absolutely,
correct?
you can. Yeah, and we encourage that. Reach out to those folks, and that's why they're volunteering their time to make the industry better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on our show today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, to learn more about how your checkoff dollars are being used to increase beef demand, go to beefboard.org and click on the Drive to subscribe to a free newsletter that highlights the positive ways that checkoff is impacting beef producers. NCBA is a grassroots organization led by producers who volunteer their time to ensure the beef business remains strong and sustainable. We're pleased to have with us Clark Price, a longtime volunteer leader from North Dakota. Clark, tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself and your background in the beef cattle business.
Well, Kevin, I'm a fourth generation rancher out of central North Dakota, just north of Bismarck, Mandan, about 40 miles, a little town called Washburn. My wife and I, along with our son, we have a cow-calf operation and also a couple feed yards where we feed just background calves to about 950 pounds. And we grow corn, soybeans, and wheat on some farm ground that we farm, and some of it for feed, some of it we market as just a cash crop. And yeah, it's been a good spot to live.
And you've invested a lot of your time as a volunteer leader in our organization. Why has that been so important to you?
You know, Kevin, I've always been passionate about our industry, right? I mean, and it's been important to me to be involved in a lot of the stuff that's going on decision-wise and on what happens to our producers around the nation, because it's important for everybody to really get involved in the industry so that we can direct the industry in the right direction, in my opinion.
Why do you think it's so important for us to have one organization like NCBA that doesn't just represent the interest of a cow-calf producer or feedlot or a retailer, but represents the interest of the entire beef value chain?
You know, NCBA is the grassroots organization that has involvement from all sectors of the industry, and like through the Federation of State Beef Councils, where all those state entities come together, collaborate their dollars, and help promote our product and do our research and education on the beef products around that we produce. It's important for all of us to work as one entity, and NCBA is that organization that gets that done.
Now, you recently served as chair of the Federation of State Beef Councils. What is the role that the Federation and the Beef Checkoff plays in driving the success of our industry?
Well, as you know, Kevin, the Federation of State Beef Councils is the entity housed within NCBA where all of the state beef councils come together and can help collaborate their dollars to help, make a bigger impact to all the industry people. Because, for me as a producer or somebody else as an individual producer, we may have $200 in checkoff dollars a year, and we can't do anything with that until we collaborate that with other producers. So really, the Federation turned 60 years old here last year, and it's an exciting thing to be part of, because that does happen, that collaboration. Those state beef council members that are on their state beef councils come together, go to the committees, make those decisions for the checkoff and how they think the checkoff should really do the work for the industry.
And so what is your advice to other folks who may be wondering if they should get involved in their state beef council or their state cattlemen's organization? What would you tell them?
It's important to be at the table. I've said that forever my whole life. If you're not at the table, you're on the table, right? So it's important for everybody to get involved and direct our industry in the way that we think it should go, because if we're not there doing it, somebody's going to do it for us. So it's important for us as producers to be involved in our own industry.
Thank you for your service to our industry, and thank you for spending a little time with us today.
Thank you, Kevin.
To keep up to date on the issues facing cattle producers and to help make a difference in the industry, why not join Clark as a member of NCBA? It's easy to do. Just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Use promo code C2C when you sign up, and you'll receive a special gift. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we've got a look at some of the ways NCBA is taking beef advocacy to the next level. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Weeds will rob me of my investments. The weeds are not palatable to the cows. They will not eat them, or if they do eat them, some of them may be toxic. So there's a return on investment by allowing there to be more grass available to be grazed by the cattle.
You work hard to feed your herd and maintain your property. John Deere 6 Series tractors give you choices that fit your operation. 6E tractors are simple and easy to use around your ranch. See all the angles when moving snow or maneuver easily in tight spots with 6M tractors. Get more power and premium comfort with 6R tractors. Mixing feed, weighing bales, and loading goods have never been easier with new loader technologies on 6Rs. Ask your John Deere dealer to learn more.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll be part of the nation's oldest and largest national cattle industry organization that has a professional team working in Washington, D.C. on issues that matter to cattle-producing families nationwide. Don't stay on the sidelines. Make your voice heard by joining NCBA today at the website ncba.org.
Good communication helps bridge the gap between consumers and producers in order to answer questions about how beef is produced from pasture to plate. And joining me now is Allie Fender. She's the 2023 Beef Advocate of the Year. Allie, thanks for coming to the show, and let's begin by just telling the folks just a little bit about your background in the beef industry.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. It's been a total privilege to be here and an honor to be here and to have that Beef Advocacy of the Year award for this year. I'm so thankful for that. So I'm from San Diego County. I actually I'm just about an hour outside of downtown San Diego in the Northeast region. It's a beautiful little secret gem that a lot of people don't really know about or don't really consider like cattle country, but we do have some cattle in that area. My family actually immigrated over here from Switzerland from the 1920s and started off with a dairy operation, then it slowly transitioned to beef. And in 2014, my husband and I got married. We ended up getting 10 bred heifers for our wedding gift from my dad. So that's kind of what started our operation, and we call ourselves Flying F Ranch. It was our brand that we selected for our cattle. California is a brand state, so we did have to submit those paperwork. And so that's kind of what started our brand, essentially, for our business as well. Our motto is we give a flying F about beef, so that's always a fun story to tell. And from something that's a little bit different about what my family has always done and what we do now is we have implemented Black Angus genetics into our program, and we do beef direct to consumer sales as well as kind of elevating our genetic side for our Black Angus beef. So that's been a really fun story to be able to develop, and that's kind of got me to where I am today.
Yeah, you have lots of opportunities to share that story with consumers. I'm curious, tell us a little bit more about how you share the beef production story with consumers.
Yeah, so I do a lot of social media interactions and sharing our story through social media, as well as just being present in public and things of that nature. I'm a part of our local Cattlemen's Association, so that's been a really huge push for me too. And communicating with children in like schools and even outside of that, like different communities and things of that nature. So it's been fun to connect with people that don't really have any foot in the industry or have been several generations removed from the industry. And especially from where I live, there's not, like I said, there's not a lot of cattle production in that area. So I do have a lot of people to communicate with and share that story. And not only my story, but our story as a cattle producing culture.
A huge audience in California.
Yeah.
So how do you think that communication that you initiate really helps the farmers and ranchers all across the country as you help tell the beef production story?
I think just being out there and pushing the envelope a little bit on trying to share my story has helped others maybe like inspire them to do something similar on their own. Yeah. And I think that honestly it's just about starting with sharing your own story first, and then, as I said, continuing to share the story of the beef industry as a whole, because we're so diverse in everything we do. There's, you know, everything from a cow-calf operation to a feedlot to the grocery store. So there's a big story to tell, and to be able to be an expert in like my own situation, which is, you know, I would say probably being a mother and cooking for my family and support, or really valuing the health aspect of it has been a huge thing for me. And just having that connection to like connect with other mothers in outside of the industry or within the industry, and making sure that I can like have that connection with someone else that might be an outsider.
Yeah. You mentioned cooking. You're not only a great communicator, you must be a great cook, because you won the Beef It Up recipe contest here at the CattleCon 24. Tell us how that contest helps connect consumers with beef?
Yeah, so I'll just share a little backstory on that recipe. So I am also a part of the San Diego Farm Bureau, and every year the Farm Bureau has an event called Graze, and it's at the Carlsbad Flower Fields. If you've never been, you should take a visit. It's beautiful. It's flowers everywhere. But they bring in different farmers and even ranchers to share like a small bite of their product. So I came in with Flying F Ranch, and we did a recipe with our brewery because we also do grain pickups from our local brewery down in San Diego to feed our feeder steers for our direct-to-consumer program. So it's a cool full circle story that I can share with my audience about, you know, the upcycling story. And so we did like a partnership, and they also have a restaurant. So we needed something quick, something fast, something that can stay hot. So we decided to do a picadillo recipe. And I have to give full credit to Viewpoint Brewing Company on that recipe, but it was a collaborative kind of situation. So when I won this recipe, I sent them all the things. I'm like, wow, you guys will never believe this, but our recipe won. So they're really excited about this too. So that's been a really fun thing. But I think it's a cool, you know, recipe to share just because it's something a little bit outside the box. Most people, when they think about ground beef, they think of burgers or like adding it into a sauce or things like that. So it's kind of fun to elevate it and make it a little bit more fancy. So you should give it a try.
I will look forward to trying that. Thank you so much for coming to the show, Allie, and congratulations again on this incredible honor.
Thank you so much.
Allie was one of 3 recipe winners featured at CattleCon 24. Darcy Sexton of Oregon was honored for her Asian beef bowl, while Adam Wackel of Nebraska won for his chuck roast sliders. Not only were there award-winning recipes served to convention goers, those recipes were also showcased during CattleCon 24. Now, if you missed these dishes, you can still make them for yourself and your friends and family. Just go to beefitswhatsfordinner.com to find these delicious recipes. Still ahead, we'll discuss the important partnership between corn and cattle. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
That certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
Have you taken a hard look at the performance of your cow herd? More producers are turning to the proven genetics offered by Gelbvieh and Balancer females.
We like the Balancers just because they're really good mamas, they got good feet and good udders.
So the reason that we started using the Balancer genetics is to create the perfect hybrid female. To have that composite hybrid female that lasts a long time, has moderate mature status, and highly fertile.
Moderate framed Gelbvieh and Balancer females stay in your herd longer and offer outstanding performance.
Gelbvieh and Balancer females are really known for their fertility, for their longevity, and for the ability to raise heavy weaning calf year after year.
Make the smart, sustainable, and profitable choice with Gelbvieh and Balancer females. Find out more at gelbvieh.org.
Corn and corn growers have long played an important role in the beef industry. Here to talk more about this partnership is Troy Schneider, a corn grower and cattle producer in Colorado, who also serves on the board of the National Corn Growers Association. Troy, it's good to see you here in Orlando, a couple of Colorado guys.
It's good to be here.
So as we mentioned, there's a real symbiotic relationship that exists between corn and cattle. Talk a little bit about that relationship.
Well, you know, it goes fairly deep for the simple reason, go back home to eastern Colorado, western Kansas, you know, we have that gift from the good Lord, that prairie grass out there that we run cattle on, and we put those cattle into the feedlot. We feed the corn that we grow there locally around the region, and we make a product, a good protein product, and we create jobs. We create an economy for our local areas and put kids in school. And so it does, like Don Schiefelbein always said, it goes hand in glove.
Yes.
It goes deep there. So it is very important to us, and we're glad to be here at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association trade show and the cattle convention.
And we're glad to have you. And in fact, you and some of the other fellow members of NCGA have actually done a learning lounge at CattleCon. Tell us a little bit about what your message was in that educational session.
We looked into the new and exciting things, the opportunities, not only for corn farmers, but also for the beef industry and how the two are tied together. We moved into our sustainability goals there at the National Corn Growers at NCGA. We set those back in 2020. Those goals are for 2020 or 2030. Okay. And those goals are reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, the reduction in water use, reduction in how many acres it takes to produce corn. And we're sitting here this year with a record corn crop of 177 bushel an acre, and that's going to continue to grow and increase. So we have to work on our end, and that message there in Cattlemen or in the Learning Lounge was we have to work with our beef partners and other animal protein partners to help make sure that you guys have a profitable product on your end so we can have a profitable product on our end.
I appreciate you bringing up the issue of sustainability because, of course, it's very important in the beef industry. Tell us about some of the things you've already done in your industry to improve the sustainability of corn production.
I mentioned the sustainability goals that we set in 2020. We look back from 1980 to 2015, and it's a 41% decrease in the amount of land it takes to produce a bushel of corn. It's, I think, around 13 or 14% reduction in the amount of water it takes to produce a bushel of corn. So it's all those things. It's no different than in the cattle industry. We're producing more beef per animal than we ever have before. So it's that same message goes back and forth there.
We also talk a lot on this show about exports, and I know exports are very important both to the beef industry, but also to the corn industry. What are you doing as corn growers to enhance either or both beef and corn exports?
Well, I think the first thing that your listeners need to know about is when it comes to those beef exports and our corn exports, we need the support of MAP and FMD. So MAP is Market Access Development and FMD is Foreign Market Development. Those two items come with the Farm Bill, and they need to be increased. So our partners at the United States Meat Export Federation, our partners at the U.S. Grains Council, they leverage that money and take our message across the seas to promote all of our products. And so that's one thing we're doing there. The other thing is we just have to have good, sound policy in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, we need new trade agreements. We have to have, that in place, and that needs to move forward.
Fantastic. This is very, very insightful, and we appreciate the strong partnership that exists between NCGA and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks for coming to our show.
All right. Thank you very much.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our friends at the National Corn Growers Association, just visit their website at ncga.com. When we come back, we've got a look at some of the fun family events at CattleCon. Stay with us.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. There are big benefits to being a member. You'll get industry news in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus discounts just for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Family fun was the focus at CattleCon 24 in Orlando. Here's a look at the variety of engaging activities that were suitable for attendees of all ages.
Today we are doing custard for the FFA through the Cattlemen's program. Culvers is really big on all of our families that have farms, so we rely on our farmers more than people really realize.
It's really good. I like Clovers, I've always have, so it's pretty cool that they have a little thing here.
It's always a lot of fun. Everyone loves custard.
I've just been really excited to see all the different booths. I like seeing the tractors.
It's a lot of fun. It's really exciting to have students out here getting involved in the industry, seeing what it's all about.
CattleCon, I think, is the best part of the cattle industry. It's where each industry gets to come here and advocate for their cause and plays a role in helping preserve our heritage and our lands.
It's really cool. We came over here just to see the puppies, yes sir.
Spending time with puppies is a great way to spend a Friday at CattleCon.
Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.